Welcome to my podcast, Shaping Your Journey. My name is Aldo Mazza, percussionist, drummer, and artistic director of Cosa Music, inviting you to listen in conversation with friends, artists, professionals, and experts in our music world. Today, I have the great pleasure of having with me, finally, Cyro Baptista, who's been to Cosa before, and he's the other crazy guy that I love having with us. So I want to thank you so much, Cyro, for joining me today on this, talking about shaping your journey.
Oh, Aldo, thank you so much to invite me to your program. That's great.
I want to before we talk about the journey itself, just to say a little bit about your background. Not your background, but where did it start? How did you start playing music? What started it for you? What was that thing that just jumped at you in the beginning?
Well, I'm from Brazil, and in Brazil everybody plays soccer. No, if you don't play soccer, you're in trouble. And when I was a kid, I wasn't that good in soccer, and I remember that I had a music teacher in the school. At that time, we used to do, because Villa-Lobos, Brazilian composer, he did this music program in the schools, that everybody would learn a part of a song, and then in the end, we would go to the soccer field and everybody would play the song, and he would conduct. Was amazing. That time in Brazil, he was the minister of music.
Minister of music, wow.
And but then he died, and then this singer kind of got difficult to continue. And then when it got to my time, this teacher said, let's not do that. Let's make some instruments, and let's play, like make a band. And I remember my first instrument was a coconut. We cut the coconut in the middle, take the meat out there, and I was so happy to play that. I said, man, I'm not good at soccer, but I'm good at the coconut. Nice. And then it's like it's inspired me to like music. Like, it was great. It's funny, during my living with the music, always I do this question you did for me, I did for Michael Brecker, for Steve Gadd, and everybody is like this. I had a teacher who, teachers are very important.
But not for you. But so I remember there's one thing that I read, and I read it recently, but I remember a long time ago, you came to America from Brazil. You were born in Sao Paulo, right? And you came to America, to Woodstock in 1980. And I'll tell you why I know this, because I used to go to all the drum camps, all these workshops. I was crazy. I wanted to learn everything from everybody. I just got, really curious. And I applied to go to that Woodstock program when you were there. Yeah. And I ended up that I started to tour with my group, Repercussion, and I couldn't go. And then I learned that you were there. But I learned later, I said, Cyro was there. We would have met a long time ago.
Yeah, that was 1980. And yes. You talk about CMS, Creative Music Studio.
That's right.
And
Jack DeJohnette was there, right?
Man, I was so lucky. One of these things, when you fall in the right place at the right time. I was already playing Brazil, and then I met a bassoon player, Janet Grice, and she connected me. I said, "Oh, you gotta go to this place; it's amazing." And and then they got me like a kind of scholarship. I had no money to come to America. Then I arrived there, and this was in Woodstock. And this place probably was one of the places in the world where it started world music. Like it was the first time that I saw somebody musicians from Africa, from India, and Turkey, Brazil, and they would come and instead of saying, "Oh, that's my music," they say, "Oh, maybe I take one note here, you put one note there, we can play together." And it was an amazing place. It had Don Cherry, Nana Vasconcelos, and Jacques Dejonet, and Colin Walcott, amazing percussionist. Anthony Coleman. Yeah.
Was Bob Moses there as well? I think Bob Moses.
Bob
he was
Moses.
not? Okay.
I didn't see there, but I met Bob. Bobby, I did my first recording in New York with Bob Moses.
Steve Coleman, que era o fundador, junto com.
And
Carl Berger and.
But mainly Carl Berger and Ingrid. They started this. It was a farm, and everybody that wasn't in tour would hang there. And then I arrived, and I remember the first day, they have another student, and they said, "Oh, you Brazilian percussionist?" I said, "Yeah." And said, "Oh man, you guys are the best. No, I love Brazilian percussion. I'm gonna do, today's my night. I'm gonna do a recital in the school, and can you play percussion with me?" I said, "Oh, but I just arrived. Imagine my English now is like this. Imagine then, like I told me Tarzan, Eugene, and
yes.
Then I went to play, and the song was a night in Tunisia.
Wow.
But
okay.
He did and what I never heard. Brazil it's not very popular, and then the arrangement was in 9, and what I didn't know too. Then he started, and I said, "Oh man, this is gonna be," and then something happened, and I said, "Oh my goodness, what is this?" Like I think the Americans, they don't have swing, maybe some, no. But then I see that the song is going, and they make the mistake together, and I said, "How they do that?" Like then I started to get really scared, because I was totally lost.
Okay.
And then I started to think about maybe I passed the equator, and the magnetic field took my rhythm out of. When finished the song, I was destroyed. My first day in America, and I remember this Ismet Sirawa, amazing Turkish. He came to me and said, "Man, you just arrived." Yes, and man, I don't know what happened. He said, "Oh, the song was in 9." I said, "9 what?" He said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2. I said, why people do this? Make life miserable. He said, "No, in Turkey, this is normal. If you turn the radio, it's like samba there. Every 9 and other." And then when I start to really, a door opened for me, like it was a lot of struggle. But the next day I met him, and he started me teaching, and then it was incredible to be at CMS that time. I learned so much things that still trying to understand until now.
Beautiful. No, that's a great story because when we get out of our shell, not our shell, but where we come from, and come across other cultures, other ideas that we have never come across, and nobody explains anything, what a surprise.
But
Beautiful.
also at that time I met Nana. You probably know Nana
Of course,
Vasconcelos.
of course. Yes, beautiful.
And
Nana
Nana was
Vasconcelos.
because I learned so much with him, and I end up like not just being a student, but also playing with him and touring and recording, and he really helping me. That
Yeah.
my mentor for me.
No, he was brilliant. I have so many of his records. I love his voice, his whole approach to, there's a whole vibe when he's on a record. The record to me is like is like in a dream. Every record that I have of his, it's a dream that you're listening to. Maybe it's a strange way to say it, but
No, but I think that is like this idea of percussion of to orchestrate the layers of sounds, and that's what he was amazing doing that.
yeah. And all those different
He,
colors.
he actually he actually would like singing a lot of times very out of tune, and he said, I don't care, I'm a percussionist, I can do whatever, I'm not a singer.
Right.
That helped me a lot. I said, I can be a singer too.
Maybe I can learn a lot from both of you. I'm not a singer. I'm a percussionist. But from there, after work, I mean, you've worked with Nana Vasconcelos. I mean, he would use the clay drums, the udu drums. He would do the berimbau. I mean, in such a way that it was just magical. It was amazing. But you went on to play with a lot of other people, not just in that world. I mean, you played with people like Herbie Hancock. Tell us about some of the stories. Like, how did it work that you were recommended by these people, or these people like Yo-Yo Ma, Sting, Herbie Hancock, who you recorded and worked with, heard you, or you were just recommended? I mean, you're a crazy percussionist. You're one of us, and I mean, a wonderful player, of course. But
Yeah, like we said, like nothing happened coincidence. Everything have a reason, and with Yo-Yo Ma was like he was doing a record of choros, no?
okay,
Choros, that's this kind of Brazilian music from the 30s, and then they no, I was playing in a choro group at that time. Now choro is very popular in Brazil, but like 20 years ago, it wasn't. No, like it was, this too old music. But I was always very into the choros. It's like a first manifestation of instrumental music in Brazil. No singing, just instrumental. And then Yo-Yo Ma decided to do this, and then he asked me, like, can you put like a percussion session, and then he called Paquito de Rivera.
right.
Oh, it's amazing because he's from Cuba, but he's a master in choro, and then I put like a Brazilian percussion session, and that's how we did the album. We toured a lot, and was very important because that guy is so nice. I don't know if you had the opportunity.
Yes.
He's one of the best person I ever met in my life.
No, he's one of my favorite cello players. We worked together. Actually, we were in a festival in Northern Ontario once with repercussion. He was playing, I think, Dizzy Gillespie with Mo Kaufman. There's a whole festival, and we ended up staying, like, not just do our concerts and leaving. We would do things together for a minute in these evening concerts. And he was very open to all kinds of different things. So I remember we did something. It was so long ago now. I forget exactly what we did. Something very short. The four of us, four percussionists, and he enjoyed what we were doing because we were like crazy. These four crazy guys jumping around, doing everything, hitting everything we could, and we had fun. But he's such an amazing artist. I mean, incredible and a visionary too. In crossing over the whole classical world, and he's so good to allowing all these other things to happen within and over, not just overlap, but mix these cultures. I think is beautiful. What his Asian projects, all these other things that the Silk Road projects that he did.
Silk Roads, and he did that before his album. He did a tango, but
Right.
it's this like besides to be an amazing, he's Yo-Yo Ma, but he's an incredible human being, and the same with Herbie. I think like my life as a musician have a before Herbie and after after Herbie, he really changed my way to position myself with the music, to renovate. Also, like he was a big influence as I start to be a Buddhist. With him, he's amazing person, like with the Buddhism, and
Yes, he's a very deep
then
thinker.
yes, yeah, he's like a musician, but he's a spiritual leader. He's a technological advisor. He does so many things in the same time. But for me, like I until I did this Gershwin Awards, a record that I did with Herbie, and luckily we got a Grammy, and then we traveled for 2 years with that
Beautiful.
project. And until that, I was like mostly like a sideman, like I work in projects of other people. I had my project, but I never do. Then I just started to take serious. I said, no, I gotta do my thing. No, I needed to. That was great what I did, but now I need to start something from scratch. And then I started my band. Like I remember I rent a dance studio, like African, this dance studio Africa that people play during the class. And I got a room there, and then everybody was playing the class. I said, no, come. Then even people was passing the corridor. I said, hey, come here
Wow.
to participate in my band. And that's when I start Beat the Donkey. And that was for 10 years. But then my life changed there. Herbie helped me a lot.
The one thing I really enjoyed about Herbie, I mean, I've never worked with him, but I've heard him in concerts, and when he speaks, I mean, he's a lecturer, such deep thinking, and very, very interesting approach to everything, music and our place in life. I mean, I think it's important to understand why we do what we do in our place, and why it should be a positive experience, and we should be bridges to everything else. That kind of approach. I really enjoy listening to him. I hope he records half the stuff that he says, because it's very well thought out.
Yeah, I think like he's like he said, I pay you guys to come here to rehearse on the stage. I don't want like you do. I want you to take chance. He wants to see every night, and was a challenge, sometimes struggle. And he is a believer that we got to struggle in music until we find something that's really truthful. That and it was like this. Sometimes we do some concert that wasn't that good, but was preparation for the next one that was, I said, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. That's amazing. And that's he pursued that. And I'm very grateful to play with him and to have the experience.
Yeah, and you always project that. I remember when you were at COSA at the camp, everyone really enjoyed working with you just because you opened up a lot of people's minds into how to approach not just rhythm but music in general. And I thought that was really interesting because you have a really open spirit about approaching life and music. And I think I mean, we
remember when I
recognize
went there, have this girl who played tablas and you remember? Huh?
the Merdingum.
Mandrunga, man.
Merdingum,
She
yes.
was like about 16 years old, and
Yes.
and she was doing all that Indian rhythms, and I said, "Wow, she's amazing." And then she turns to me and chose me to play with her. I said, I'm dead here. But it was great. I remember, fantastic. You put all that together, and it must be a lot of work.
Yes, but I mean, it's so
worth,
amazing to have. I mean, at COSA, we would always
big celebration.
Yeah, no, and it was great to do. I mean, it's always fun to do those things, and especially in that environment where you have all these great people from all walks of life, from Indian to Brazilian to classical, and all the best people. And you have classes all day long, and then we have concerts in the evening, and then everybody's performing, so everybody's in their spot. That's why when she asked you to perform, that happened all the time with everybody, and people would be surprised. But you know, we're there, and it's for us, and it's to share with the audience who comes to see us in the evenings, and everybody takes all kinds of chances. There was one time, you remember the drummer Carmine Appice, okay, the rock drummer. He was doing a class, and then for his concert that night, he asked this marching Dominic Cuccia, marching percussionist, to join him, just because he says, I saw you play this bass drum in a very special way, and I've always wanted to do something with drum set and bass drum. So, and it worked beautifully. And it's, you know, this is our chance to do what we want, you know, which is really nice. And so open up more barriers, break down barriers, and open the spirit. And musically, what we think might not be possible just because of sometimes we live within a box. But if you take away the box, you say, do whatever you want. I mean, you have the musical maturity and experience. You just need somebody to say everything's okay, like Herbie would do, right? And Miles would do the same thing, right? You have to take chances, be out there. And I mean, you're the perfect guy for that.
No, great experience, and I also like Paul Simon. Was somebody who changed, changed my life a lot to have the opportunity. I remember because in the band there was Michael Brecker, was Steve Gadd, and Michael Brecker was a guy who already at that moment he accomplished. He played with everybody and his music was amazing. But he was learning. He never. we all then we never play in stadium for 20,000 people. Like,
Wow.
sometimes I was playing. I in New York. I start in Lower East Side. I don't know if you know. Like it's have Alphabet City, and a lot of the musicians in the West Side in New York in the 80s lived the jazz musicians, the mainstream like people. The people who don't fit that would go and live in the Lower East Side. And
Right.
the rent was much cheaper, and the crazy people lived there. And we start a club called Knitting Factory at that
Oh,
time
yes.
there.
Yeah.
And the Knitting Factory, sometime we used to say, in the first set, have a dog and an old lady. And in the second set, just the dog. Experimental music and these crazy things there. And then suddenly I was in a stadium playing for 20,000 people. And it's like the way you play, and the way it's completely another planet. But music have this. But in the end, what we do is like it's so funny because I know we need to finish, but have this story with my sister in Brazil. She was a biologist, and she had like this. She got this thing of research that she would go in the middle of Brazil with the natives, like the rainforest, and to stay 3 months there doing research. Before that, I have said, Monica, please, anything that makes sounds, you bring to me. I want nobody know what these guys do. And
Nice.
well, after 3 months, she came and she brought this flute that was very hard to make a sound of. And then she brought was a little piece of wood with a little gourd, with a string, with the teeth of animal. And then you would do like this and do click, click, click. I said, what's this? What is this? This is so little sound. Well, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, 500 people get together and start to do this. And there is no idea of musician, and everybody 6 o'clock is a musician, and they gotta make that sound because that sound is what is gonna keep them going. And I think that's what we do. It doesn't matter if it's 20,000 people, a dog or the old lady. We needed to have this kind of spirit of the music to bring us together 6 o'clock to survive making music.
Wow, that's interesting. Very interesting. How did Paul Simon, the experience with Paul Simon, how did that change your approach to making music or being a musician?
Well, what's the tour? We did 2 years. I think in 2 years, Leonora, I came back 1 week home.
Wow.
And then it was very intense. This thing I remember, we did a concert at Central Park that was 700,000 people.
Wow.
It's so funny because that time we would say 700,000 people. Last week, Madonna played in Brazil was 1.5 million. Now it's much bigger. But it was an incredible experience for me, this to be playing with Richard T and the South African musicians from Cameroon. The band was 17 people.
Yes.
was incredible to have that opportunity to do a concert with a mega pop star and had no downbeat the whole concert.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, and the nice thing is, that was an incredible project that Paul Simon did, and I think that will last a long time. I still listen to it, and some
really?
of this.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, yeah. I have the record. And every once in a while, there's this groove that happens in one of the songs. I can't remember what it is. It's like a samba thing. So I'm doing it on the drum set myself, and I'm improvising with the bass drum, and
Wow.
it's such a beautiful groove. It's hallucinating. Yeah. So I want to thank you, guys. I don't know Paul Simon personally, but I should thank him because I love that one. I practice it all the time.
Yeah, it wasn't easy to play with him. Like he's perfectionist, and was difficult for me. Like I came from this, was living this improvising music and like kind of avant-garde thing. I was playing with John Zorn a lot.
Right.
I don't know if you know Zorn. And then suddenly I was in the middle of that situation, and I remember we was doing the rehearsals that took many months doing the rehearsals, and we needed to do a bridge over troubled water. And have these 70 musicians, and said, let's start with Cyro. And then everybody started to play a shaker. And then I got a shaker and play the whole song. He said, man, it's nice, but do you have something smaller? I said, yeah. And we played the whole song again. I'm playing. No, let's play again something even smaller. Then I get an egg, like yeah. I'm so sorry, even smaller. I think I don't know if I have it here. It's abacus. I have it.
Oh yes, abacus.
With 70 musicians, nobody knows. Then when he finished, he said, "Oh man, you know what? Go back to the first one." Then it's like. He did that with Steve and with everybody.
Nice.
Chris Bodie was a kid that was in the band too.
Several days just with rehearsing Bridge for the Water.
Yeah.
Several days rehearsing.
Yeah, it was a week just Bridge of Troubled Water.
That's amazing. Well, and that's I think everything is in the detail, right? So if he wasn't so detail oriented, he would probably not have gotten there.
We was like 4 Brazilian percussionists. No, you put 4 Brazilian percussion in the stadium, you can't hold. Like we would do that. In the next show is different. The other show different.
Right. You mentioned something that. When we spoke earlier, when we first opened up, when we were doing our sound test, I didn't know your background was Italian. Where was that? You said in Lecce?
Yeah,
no, Lucca.
In Lucca. My family from Lucca. Yeah. My last name is Ciari, not Chiari. I don't know if you know Walter Chiari. He was like an actor in Italy,
Yes.
and Italy is so amazing. I hope I can visit you.
Oh, please! I'm gonna give you my
there.
address. I'm gonna give you my address in Calabria because we have a house.
I go there, look like I'm going home.
Oh no! Be careful what you ask for, Cyro. And I have my studio there as well. So I go every once in a while. I'm going to be spending, and I usually spend a month or so. Every once when I'm there, when I'm in Europe, and the COSA project. This year we're starting in. We've put everything in place for Cosa Italy, but specifically Cosa Calabria,
Wow.
which is where I was born. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Then the food, music, food,
Yeah.
music,
It's incredible.
food.
Yeah. Is this? I was playing with that. I don't know if you remember, if you know, like Ryuichi Sakamoto is a composer, piano player from Japan, amazing. And we did like a kind of world tour that end in Milano.
Okay.
End up in Milano, the tour. Then I was the last gig we played there, and then came these people in the show from Sardinia. And they said, "Oh, Cyro, we like you so much. What you do is going to work with us. Do you want to do a little tour with us in Italy?" And I said, "Man, that's everything I want. Like with the Italians in Italy." And I didn't know about Sardinia, how crazy this Sardinia people is. Then the next day I got out of the tour and start with them. Like in Italy, it's like in Brazil. The morning, it's just coffee and some things like this, and then we go in the roads, traveling the road. And, hey, lunchtime. Then we go like out of the road, like 30 kilometers far away. Like we go to this like a house of a family, house like somebody there have a restaurant, but it's a family. And then come this big mama, and then was that single about antipasti. Antipasti is already good for me. But then primero prato, then segundo piatto, and then coming the cheese and man, when I came back to the band to continue, I was like a balloon. And they said, "Cyro, did you like the food?" Then I said, "Man, amazing. I never ate anything like." "No, this is no good. Good food is from Sardinia. Look this." And then under they have the Sardinia bread, Sardinia cheese. "No, try this. This is the good one." Then we go to the other seat. Then dinner time before the show is like, no, antipasto, primero prato, segundo prato, everything. When I went to play, I couldn't move. And we finish, we go to the hotel, and now uma bella primavera, uma pizza before sleep. But the music was amazing. Like the music for Sardinia. Italy had amazing musicians,
Yes.
everywhere. And every time I go there, now recently have this guy from Italy. Sorry, I forgot his name at my age, but he had this cueca. The cueca.
Yes.
But the cueca had the stick outside. I don't know if you must see.
Sure,
it's
that's
Italian.
called it's a lion's roar. They call that.
Oh man, it was amazing.
Nice.
And tarantella and all that.
Yeah. See, in the South, where I'm from, where I was born, the tarantella is prevalent. So now my father was a great tarantella drum player, which I only found out later that he played. I was like 30 years old
Wow.
when because when they immigrated, he didn't play anymore, and I never knew until by accident he picked up a drum and started playing, and I said, "Papa, what are you doing? I never saw you play. You never even mentioned. And I'm touring the world with this guy and these people, and I'm on television. I'm doing records, and I'm going to study these instruments, and you play better than they do, and you never told me." It's a mind blower. But it was what we did as children, as families. Everybody danced and everybody sang and played drums. Back in the village, right? And I was too young to remember but Yeah, in the south, and that's one of the things with the Cosa Calabria. We're going to bring that out a little bit more because now they've developed it. There's this project they call it Notte di Taranta, that's in the south. That the RAI does this beautiful, beautiful concert and festival, and there's like 100,000 people that, and they televise it. It's amazing. It and is really developed, with orchestras, strings, 20 guys or guys and women playing beautifully, the tamborello, and it's a mind blower. Yeah, it's great.
Last year, remember you played with that guy, young guy, who put the place, the played concert with him.
Yeah, but we went also there in the south. We play with Beat the Donkey there. Remember, which town was?
So Beat the Donkey was your group. It still is. I mean, I have your records.
No, Beat the Donkey was a group I did from 2000 2010. Then 2010. Then was a Banquet of Spirits.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was a project that I did based on these movements that had in Brazil, cultural movement called anthropophagia. No, that was a big thing in Brazil. And now I have my last album, Chama. And Chama it can be two things. Could be flame, the flame of fire, and it can be Chama, llama,
the shaman. Right.
Chama is a record that just came out on Ai, como é o nome da gravadora? Roupa Dope. the label. And it's good. It's still traveling, doing, like trying to do a little less now because it's not easy to travel anymore.
Yes.
In the airports and all this, going with all this percussion.
Oh yes, and
when I travel, it's also I need to bring my own. Like many. I love a percussion. Like I have a conga, bongos, timbales, and a little different percussion. But for me, many instruments are instruments that I collect or I build and. Instruments from that make sounds of the wind or the rain and this and to bring this sometimes it's not easy.
Yes, no, it's I understand.
The airport.
And it's getting crazier. I remember recently I was traveling and I thought I was going to bring my key to tune the congas and bongos, right? I said they may not have a key because they're supplying the back line. So I have with me the wrench, the key for the congas and bongos. So I'm going through security. They took that out and said, "What is this, sir?" I said, "That's the key for my bongos and congas." "Well, you can't bring this." And I said, "Well, what do you mean? I need that for my..." They said no because these are kinds of things that could be dangerous in a plane.
Imagine what are you gonna do now? You imagine you go in the plane with this. I don't know if you guys can see.
Wow!
Like a beating bow to go to the plane. Like they say, it's a white weapon. Like it's what is a white weapon? I don't know, but this, but it's just one string, but you can get the string out and strangle somebody. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's gotten a little crazy.
It doesn't fit like the mold, like to be or a saxophone or a guitar, and this kind of thing, then they freak out.
Sure.
Completely. And I you know, I end up doing a lot of concerts impromptu in airports. You know, like
That's fantastic.
what
And-
is this? Oh, look at this! And then I play. Wow, that's great. Okay, you can go.
So you're right. So you could add to your name, airport educator.
And,
But sometimes we have to because they don't know. So, but that's fantastic. That would be a great scene to film. You showing the customs people what exactly is this, because they don't have time. They don't know. So you're educating.
it's
Yeah.
but sometime in the airport, have a lot of musicians work in the airport too. Then it's look, the airport is a trip. You know, I'm old. In the beginning, we used to travel with with Nana. We bring 400 kilos of percussion in the tour. Then was these calzone cases.
Yes.
These you could bring in the plane, and the bass, like a acoustic bass with the case. Then
yes.
it's turning into like a plastic case. Now I go with a paper bag.
Yes.
Well, you can't do a whole food paper bag.
Yeah, no, you remind me when we were touring the world with Repercussion, we're 4 people, but we're a total of 7 people traveling. So back then, you used to be able to have three checked-in suitcases, no matter what size. So we used to have, I remember, 39 travel cases and like marimbas, like, you know, all the drum set, like everything. So 39 cases of all sizes.
39 is a lot. 39 is a lot. Yeah.
So we used to be...
We was close to that because we bring a whole gamelan.
Wow.
The road. Yeah, we beat the donkey. No, we have the gamelan and...
To go to Calabria was a big trip.
Oh, the Calabria was brutal to bring the gamelan together.
Because they sent a truck and it didn't fit in the truck, and they had to do like 3 times in the place of the festival. It was like 3 hours away.
It's always it's a parallel career to you are a musician and carrying the instruments.
A mover. Oh yes.
Yeah,
logistics of
the logistic to bring because when I was playing with Paul Simon, I remember we did Australia, and then we had a week, and Paul Simon said, "Oh, look, everybody was the week. You guys can go back home. I'm gonna go to Bali, and if somebody wants to come with me," I said, "No, I want to go to Bali." No, and then I went there, and that was in 91, and the gamelan was very new for me, and then I discovered all. You know, Bali is a paradise for percussion. If you are percussion, you gotta go to Bali. It's like the percussion they have is so rich. You know, so it's so funny because one day I went to see some guys playing, and then because I was like a foreigner, the percussionist was playing like a bamboo instruments, like Balinese jigak bamboo, they call like this. And then they had some flute players. And the flute players who came in the front and like kind of show off for me, you know, like the melodies and this. And the guy stopped, the guy for the percussion. No, hey, wait a minute. What are you doing in the front? You are in the back. And put the flutes. I love that. I said, oh man.
Nice.
Then I got all these instruments in Bali, and I ship home, this gamelan, and I tried to learn, but it's so difficult music to learn. It's like, and then I decided to compose Brazilian songs for gamelan.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what we used to do. We did choros for gamelan.
The gamelan. Wow. Did you record any of that?
Yeah, recorded, definitely.
Beautiful.
Definitely. First thing.
Of course. Yeah.
Man, it's so good to be with you, Aldo. This, no.
No, and we
be always grateful for you to invite me to go to your house. Look like I'm in your house.
Well, no, I really appreciate that you took the time. I know how busy you are, and I know we have to leave, but we could be speaking for days. But I do want to thank you for joining me, and it's always a pleasure. The craziness that the life we lead is crazy in the first place, but having a good sense of humor, and you certainly have a good sense of humor, because without that, it's another world. But I want to thank you so much, you and your wife Eleonora. Thank you so much for making this happen. and we'll see you in Calabria, if not in Montreal.
Or in Cuba.
Or in Cuba, of course. Yes.
You're not gonna escape this time.
No. Like an elephant, I have a good memory. Thank you so much, and as I always say, Cyro, to be continued.
Yes, ti amo.